Okay, for those who were absent on Monday and Wednesday, or if you just need a little refresher, I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm going to hit them pretty quickly. Just to remind you, we're going to be using these skills combined together to do some slightly more challenging problems today. So really important that you guys are feeling pretty confident with GCF and with these basic factoring problems. So I'm going to go over number 1 here first. Just follow along with me. If you've got it done already and you're feeling confident, use this as an opportunity to check your answer. All right, my first question is, what's the biggest number that goes into negative 120 and into 70? 10 goes into both of them. There's nothing bigger. So that's going to go underneath there. And it's going to go in my GCF. I can divide both of these by a 10. Can I divide both of these terms by any ends? No, I can divide this one by a couple ends, but there are no ends for me to divide out here. So there are no ends in my GCF. So the GCF is complete. To figure out what goes inside the parenthesis, we just do our division. Negative 120 divided by 10 is negative 12. Oops, I did not need the negative. I already put it in there. Let me fix that. So 120 divided by 10 is 12. And then we had an n squared there. Nothing canceled that. 70 divided by 10 is 7. And there's our final answer. How many of you are able to get that final answer for number 1? All right. So our GCF skills are strong. Let's check number 2. Help me out here. Biggest number that goes into 40 and 12. 4 goes into both. Can we get ends out of both of these? Yes. How many? What's the most we can get out of both? So 4n to the third. We can divide both of those by. That means our GCF is 4n to the third. Time to do our division. 40 divided by 4 is 10. I'm going to cancel some n's here. How many am I going to have left over after I cancel? 2. 5 on the top, 3 on the bottom. If I start canceling, I'll have 2 left over on the top. Here I got 12 divided by 4, that's 3. If I cancel n's here, I'm not going to have any n's left over. So that's my final answer. Can you guys show me on your thumb meter how you're feeling about factoring out a GCF? Are we like, I'm a pro, or this is the first time I've ever seen this, or I'm in the learning phase somewhere in between? Where are you guys at right now? Oh, that's a lot of confidence I'm seeing. I'm seeing confidence, and I'm seeing some folks that are being very realistic and saying, yeah, I'm pretty close. A little bit of practice is all I need to bring me up to the top. Okay, let's go over this. Now, these were a bit of a process, but you guys got really good at this. Hey, let me get your attention, please. I'm glad that didn't go through your eyeball. So these are a bit of a process. We're going to expand on these problems today, okay? I would say these problems take 3 steps to solve. We're going to add another 3 steps onto that today. So it's vitally important that you've got these first 3 steps down, because that's going to make it easier when we add the final 3 steps on today, okay? So A is 1, because there's a 1 in front of the x squared. B is negative 12, because there's a negative 12 in front of the x. And C is 27, because my constant term is 27. We learned on Monday and practice Wednesday that the top of our diamond gets an A times C, the bottom gets a B. So the top here is going to be 1 times 27, which is 27. The bottom is negative 12. And then we do the diamond problem just like we've been doing them since that first week of September. Question. If A was something like 2 or 3, that's what we're going to do today. What a great question. So patience, we will get to it in just a second. That really makes me happy though. So one of my questions that I was about to ask in a minute was, what did you notice about every single problem we've done so far of this style? Every single one we've done so far, A has been 1, hasn't it? We're going to start doing some problems where A is not 1, which means we have to do 1 more, well, not 1 more step, 3 more steps. Okay, let me see if I can find some numbers. Were you guys able to find 2 numbers that multiply to give you 27, add up to negative 12? What'd you come up with? 9 and 3, but make them both negative. All right. And then that just goes to our final answer. It's x minus 9 and x minus 3. Now, with our work that we're going to do today, when A is not 1, we're going to have 3 more steps to do here, but they're not terribly difficult. All right, let me run through this one quickly. A is 1 again, B is -8, C is -20. A times C goes in the top, that's -20. B goes in the bottom, that's -8. Give me two numbers that multiply to -20, add up to -8. -10, +2. Yes, that works. So K minus 10 and K plus 2. And we talked about this on Monday. Does it really matter what order these two factors are written in? It does not. Now the 10 has to be negative and then 2 has to be a plus. But if you put the K plus 2 first, that would be fine. If you had the K minus 10 at the end, that would be fine. Okay, folks, we are going to do the rest of the problem today. So these problems that we just did, number 3 and 4, this is a shortcut. I taught you the shortcut first. The shortcut only works when A is 1. If A is 1, we can go straight from our diamond problem to our answer. If A is not 1, we got 3 more steps to do. So far, I have not given you any problems where A is not 1 because I wanted to focus on the basics first. We're going to build on to that today. You guys ready to do this? I'm going to warn you, this is going to look daunting the first couple problems that we do because there's like 6 steps to this whole process. Okay, but the challenge today is not going to be any of the steps. The steps are pretty simple, especially if you can do what we just did here, because that's half of it. The challenge is going to be remembering what step to do next and how to do it. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go through number 5 together. We are going to start. Step 1 is exactly like step 1 that we just did. Could you guys write down in your margin here A equals, B equals, and C equals, and write down some numbers for me for number 5? Just like we did before. You guys doing this? We got it? Number 5. We're getting into the new stuff now. A is 4 this time, and that's what makes this problem different. This is why we have to do the extra steps. So A, B, and so the question is, what about the exponents? When we're doing A, B, and C, we never have any variables in them. It's just numbers. So we don't have to worry about X's or exponents or anything. That's a great question. Thank you. All right, step 1. So we've all got that down. Okay. On a scale from 1 to 3, how difficult was step 1? 0.5, maybe. Pretty easy. 4, come on now. All right, step 2, set up your diamond problem. Same way we did before. Do A times C in the top, B in the bottom. Now we're going to end up with some bigger numbers here because we're multiplying. 30 times 4 is 120. B is 29. There's step 2. I'd say step 2, just making the diamond problem about a 0.5 to a 1 out of 3 or 4. All right, step 3. This is the hardest one for me. Find me the side numbers for that diamond problem. Solve the diamond. This is going to be a little tricky. I'm going to grab my calculator because 120 is a pretty big number. All right, I'm going to need some help here. We're going to do a little guess and check. Do a little guess and check here. Sorry, give me a number between 1 and 20. Don't think too hard about it, which is just a guess. Sorry, what do you got? 15. 120 divided by 15 is 8. So 15 and 8, think about, could we use 15 and 8 here to get 29? No, it does work because there's no decimal, but we can't get a 29 out of it. So good guess. Give me another guess. Who's got another guess for me? What do you got? 120 divided by 24 is 5. Can we use 24 and 5 to get a 29? Oh, yeah, we can. Yeah, nice. Good guess. All right, so 24 and 5. All right, so up to this point, it's exactly like what we've done in the past, right? That's the X part. Here comes the next 3 steps. This is going to be new, okay? We now need to do the box. So over here, you're going to want to draw a box. Don't make it too small because we're putting stuff inside of it, but leave some space around it because we have to put some stuff outside too. It's kind of like a just a square with 4 window panes inside of it. This is step 3. And for me, step 3 was the hardest at the beginning because you got to remember how to fill out the inside of the box. You got 4 things that you need to fill out here. And you have to remember where they come from. So let me show you where they come from. Your first term in your original expression goes right here. Your last term in your original expression goes right here. And then the answer that you got from your diamond problem, from your X, goes in the other 2 spots. It doesn't matter which one we put where, but they both need an X after them. So 24X and 5X. So that's step 4. That's our first new step. Question. These 2 are always going to be the thing that gave you the A and the C, but we are going to include our X squared this time around. Yes, yes. These 2 spots are always going to be whatever your first term was in your last term, always. And then the other 2 will always be these, but you can flip the order of those. You don't want to flip the order of these ones though. You can get it done if you do flip the order, but it gets a little difficult. So this is the challenging part for me, not because it's difficult, we're just copying numbers down, but it was challenging for me at first to remember where everything went, right? So for the first probably 4 or 5 problems, you're gonna have to look at your notes to remind yourself, where do we get all this stuff from? But after you've done 4 or 5 problems, you'll remember how to do it, and this is gonna be a really easy step too. Another question. What's the point in putting it all in a box? What a wonderful question. Because the box is what's going to give us our answer this time. Okay, the answer is not x plus 24 and x plus 5. That doesn't work when a is not 1. Okay, so what we're going to do, so a little preview of what we're about to do. Thank you for the question, by the way, because you've just set me up for our next step. We're going to figure out what goes on the side of the box here and the top of the box here, and that's going to give us our final answer. Okay, so we are 2 steps away from our final answer right now. All right, so let me show you how we're going to figure out what goes on the outside of the box. This is going to become a multiplication problem, except they gave you the answer. Do you guys remember when we were multiplying 2 binomials and we created the box and we put stuff on the outside and then our job was to fill in the inside? This is backwards. Okay, our answer is going to look like this. These 2 things are going to come from the outside of our box. So I've got a method that I think works pretty well for this. There are other ways to do it though. So let me show you how my method works, and then you can see if you can find some shortcuts. Focus on the top row of your box and do a GCF. We've been practicing GCF, so you guys are pretty good at this. Think about the numbers 4 and 5. What's the biggest number that goes into both 4 and 5? 1. And can we get x's out of both of those terms? We can, just a single x. So put a 1x in that spot. So we do that one by doing a GCF. Now the rest of them are just going to come from backwards thinking multiplication. This spot up here, whatever it is, it needs to multiply by 1x to give me 4x squared. Give me a number that multiplies by 1x to equal 4x squared. 1x times 4x. Let's double check. 1 times 4 is 4. X times x is x squared. Yes, you are right. That is a 4x. Yeah, so some people put these on the bottom instead of the top. Yep, that's fine. I'm sorry, go ahead. You want to put a square on here? So there's already an x here times another x here would give us the x squared that we need. Yep, so we've got enough x's. No, that's good to check though. What's going to go up here? So when I multiply it by 1x, we get 5x. 5. Should I put an x up here with this 5? There's already an x here, and we only need 1x in our answer. So I'd say we don't need another x there. So 4x and 5. And then I just need a number to put down here. And it's 6. How do you know it's 6? So 6 times 4x would be 24x. And 6 times 5 is 30. You got it. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to be pretty quick with this step. This is kind of challenging for some people. For some people, they can just think through it in their head. All right, that's our step 5. Our step 6 is the easiest one of all, the most satisfying. This is where we just write down our answer. We've got 2 factors. One of them is 1x plus 6, and the other one is 4x plus 5. And now we're done. Do you guys see where I got those from? Yeah. Yep. Well, on the test, no. On the final exam, I'm going to give you a half sheet of paper that you'll be able to put notes on. So you'll. I'm not sure about that. I have to talk to the other Algebra 1 teachers and see what they want to do. That's what I'm going to push for, is both sides. We'll see. All right, let's do another. Hey, would you guys agree that if I would have showed you this on Monday, this would have been pretty daunting, right? You don't think so? That's a lot of steps to get that final answer. Like, so we got good at this and now we're getting good at this, but altogether it is pretty daunting. So, but you guys are doing awesome. I'm not surprised. You guys are super smart. So let's see if we can do this one. I know my answer is going to look like this. Let's go through our steps together again. A equals, B equals, C equals. We're going to do this one at medium speed. That last one was at tortoise speed. All right. Now, I don't want anybody to do number 8 yet, because we're going to have a race when we get to number 8. So if you're working ahead, don't do number 8. Is that a phone? Yeah, thanks for putting that away. Okay, let's see here. A, B, and C. You guys are pretty confident with this. 2 or diamond problem. A times C is negative 126. We got negative 11. This is the trickiest part for me. I'm going to do 126 and try dividing it by some stuff. Any guesses? 8, give us a decimal. Let's try something else. 18. 18 times 7 works. Is there any way we can get an 11 from 18 and 7? If one of them was negative, we could. Yeah. Okay, so it's 18 and 7. We're gonna. Hey guys, let's stop the side chatter, please. Thank you. Which one do we want negative, the 18 or the 7? 18 is going to be negative. All right, see if you can remind yourself by looking at the previous example, what goes where in the box. We did our X, now it's time for our box. Look at your previous example and see if you can fill in the inside of the box. That's true. Did you remember to put K's after your 7 and your negative 18? That's a very common mistake, is forgetting those K's. Negative 21 was from here. These 2 spots can be flipped. These 2 spots can be flipped. So you can have the negative 18 down here. You could have the 7 up here. And whatever comes from the box needs to have a variable added onto it. Always. So in the last one, we put an X onto it because the problem had X's in it. And this one, we're putting a K onto it because it has K's on it. And again, some of you may have put the 7K up here, and that's fine. Your answer is going to look a little bit different at first, but we'll end up with the same thing in the end. In mine, when I go to do my GCF on my top row, I got 6 and 18. What's the biggest thing that goes into 6 and 18? 3 goes into both of them. 6 goes into both of them though too, doesn't it? So 6 goes into both of them, and then we got K's in both there. And then we think through, what am I going to need up top? So when I multiply by 6K, we get these two answers. 6K times, I think this needs to be a 1K. And if I'm trying to get negative 18, 6 times, I think negative 3. And then, let's see here, what am I going to need down here? 1K times 7 gives us 7K, and that works with the negative 21. And there we go. All right, we're going to do one more, but we're going to do it as a race. Has anybody started number 8 yet? You just drew the X. You kind of got a head start, but we'll allow it. You're going to have to wait 5 seconds after everybody else starts before you start. That'll make it fair, okay? We're going to do 8. We're going to do 8. We're going to do it as a race. If you've started it yet, then you've kind of got an unfair advantage. Is it blank? All right, well, pause after I say ready, set, go to give everybody a chance to set. Yeah, 5 seconds. Give yourself 5-second delay. You ready? All right, number 8. On your marks, get set, go. Don't be looking at the screen. That's not. When you finish. Nice. There are, yes, there are multiple ways. You should get the same answer though. You should have both these. Now you can flip these two factors, but you should have the same answer. Yeah, let me have a look and see if I can spot a mistake. Oh, these don't add up to -8.
Oh shoot, what was I mean?
They do multiply to 12 though. They just don't add up to -8. Okay, now, do I expect you to be super fast at this right now? No, of course not. Of course not. We just learned these last 3 steps. Can you guys just show me though on your thumb meter, how are you feeling about this, the full problem now? I'm expecting kind of in the learning phase, I don't think anybody should be 100% like, yeah, I got this unless you've seen it prior to this. Okay, we're all going to get faster at it at any rate, but are we feeling like we kind of get the process after a little bit of practice? Once we sort of do it enough times to where we can remember all the steps and where everything goes, do you feel like you're going to be able to be successful with this? I think you guys are too. So your assignment's on the back, and you've got the rest of the class to work on that. Let me know when you run into some troubles. I'm guessing 13 and 14. Anybody want to give us a hint on 13 and 14? We ran into some of these on our test. B is 0 for number 13 and 14. So same as what we just did. The ones on the back are just like what we did for our examples. All right, folks, get after it. Let me know which questions you have. Hey, make sure